Hey everybody, we are here to do a quick look at kind of our 2017 wrap up at San Diego Comic Con in terms of exclusives and swag. We did this last year and it was really helpful to us in terms of planning for 2017. If you've not checked it out before, we do a lot of visual guides and prep guides and things like that to help people out with Comic Con. Podcast also over on iTunes and Stitcher for Parks and Cons. And so literally last year was the first time we did kind of a real wrap up video like this because obviously it's freshest in the head. As we're recording this, we just wrapped up Sunday at Comic Con like 3 hours ago or whatever it is, and so it's all very fresh in terms of what happened, what were trends that we saw, successes, failures, all that sort of stuff. So we're gonna kind of walk through, share a little bit of our story of things. Now what's represented out here on the bed is a sampling of things that we picked up and things that are kind of reflective of general themes that we found at the show. And so we'll start off just talking about exclusives. So one thing important to know in terms of exclusives, the way we approach them is it's always, the whole opportunity cost thing. How much time is it going to take to get something versus the likelihood of getting it? Meaning we're not big on lotteries, whether it's freebies or exclusives, whatever it might be. That said also though is how valuable something is. This year there wasn't really a single exclusive that I felt like I needed, quote unquote. Not that you need anything at Comic Con, but there are most years things like, oh, I really want to get that. I really got to get that. This year there wasn't. The closest thing definitely was at Hasbro, the Jedi Master Luke, which was something that was kind of leaked coming into Comic Con by some other sites, and then it was officially there on the floor. But there was nothing that was like must get. So the way coming into preview night, the way we worked it, we did the usual, which Carmel, if you're not familiar, my colleague here, my wife at Parks and Cons, she always goes over to Hallmark because Hallmark is always very steady and she's great at just getting in line and grinding away, and she's very patient. So she did that, got our Enterprise, our Star Trek, our Star Wars, our Harley, and then surprisingly, a twist we didn't expect, they had some Star Wars Celebration items. So they had this ornament. We were not able to attend Celebration, so it was neat getting that. And then also they had the itty bitties in the Cantina Star Wars vintage carded type version, so we picked up those as well. So that was all neat. I went to check out Hasbro. It wasn't happening. It was crazy busy over there, as it always is, but I always give it a look. My plan always on preview night really is just to survey what's going on, who's giving out bags, what signings, things like that. So as I was running around everywhere, all of a sudden I get a text from Carmel that as she's in line for Hallmark, one of the Hasbro employees comes to her and hands her this, and she sends me this picture that basically there is this opportunity to get a fast pass to Hasbro at Comic-Con. And at first I thought this must be a joke or it's some kind of bootleg thing or something. It's like, wait, so Hasbro is selling a fast pass, and essentially what it is you're buying a ticket to HasCon, their convention in September 8th through the 10th out in Rhode Island. And by buying a ticket to the Hasbro convention, which the cheapest one was $60, you also got a front of the line for the Hasbro booth. And so we decided to invest in that because the chaos that there's been with getting Hasbro, everything, all exclusives at Comic-Con, signings, obviously panels have been that way for a long time. It's just more and more, it's like an arms race. It feels like every year people are lining up earlier and earlier. More and more people are trying to cut line to varying degrees of success, all that. So we're like, if we can pay $60 to be able to cut the line, and then we'll be able to buy the things we want, buy a couple extra things for our friends, be able to trade, whatever it is, perfect. So we did that. So rolling into day 2, Thursday morning, Carmel, I was covering some offsite things. Carmel was able to roll in and she picked up, we got the Thrawn, got the Land Speeder, got the Luke here as well, got our Marvel Legends, and that was all we were interested in. We were kind of, the IDW set was cool, the G.I. Joe set was cool, but we kind of, there wasn't a ton of things that we felt like we needed to get, so really kept it to these 4 things. She was able to roll right in there, which was amazing. Now, this is the best example we always talk about, like, you can't plan too far ahead with a lot of these things with Comic-Con, meaning, yeah, set a plan, but you have to be dynamic in what you're going to do with plans. So that totally changed things for us, because now, Thursday morning, we were done without any drama. Could have never expected that. If you would have told me that Hasbro was going to sell a fast pass, that by buying a ticket to their convention, you could all of a sudden cut the line at Hasbro, I would never thought. That sounds crazy. But it did, and it was legit, and it worked, and they did 200 people a day for Thursday and Friday. And so I know they sold out for the Thursday allotment. I'm not sure if they sold out the Friday allotment. Some people are like, I'm not going to pay the $60 for it, and that's understandable. But conversely, getting up at 2 a.m. to camp out and battle and then still maybe not get a ticket or whatever, we were very happy with that option. I don't know if that'll ever return or not. Outside of that, in terms of exclusives though, we have the pre-sale, the Bloody Norm variant from Cryptozoic of the Joker hand. So that was nice. We were able to buy that. It was limited to, I think, 200 pieces this year. We bought it ahead of time, and it was just sitting there waiting for us, so we picked it up on Saturday. No drama there. I was hoping to get the A-Force Marvel Legends set, and but I wasn't going to battle the crazy Entertainment Earth line the first couple days, so I waited out. Entertainment Earth usually has a lot of exclusives sitting around as you go into Saturday. Sure enough, walked up, got it. This is going to be a Toys R Us too, so it's not really a true con exclusive. Similar here, Rick and Morty the Rick statue from Loot Crate was a super busy situation on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but Sunday rolled in. There was literally 2 people in line in front of me. I just walked up, got it for $20, was very happy with that. So, you know, I think the theme for me with a lot of the exclusives this year is a lot of them were like, it'd be cool to get, but not that big of a deal if I don't get. And that really, I think, dictates a lot of how you approach the exclusives. I mean, for some people, they have to get a pop, and if they don't get that pop, it's like their Comic-Con's ruined. I've not had that case in a long time with any exclusive, so it allows to be a little bit more nimble in terms of decision making and all that. Now, outside of that, in terms of the floor itself, I bought a t-shirt here and there and stuff like that, but for the most part, didn't really buy a whole lot except for some Sunday sale shopping and one really cool encounter with Dave Gibbons. So first up, Planet of the Apes, was able to pick this book up. It's trading cards, a whole book of the trading cards from the old Planet of the Apes. I love them. 50% off on Sunday. Everything at, I think it was Amblin Books, was 50% off. It was normally 20% off, but Sunday clearing out. A lot of the book dealers especially want to clear things out. It's so heavy, it's so expensive to travel, difficult to box up. Always great to look for those sales. There was definitely a few things that we put on a list of checking back on Sunday. Some of them were sold and gone. Some of them worked out. This was one that worked out. Came back. It was even a lower price. Perfect. A big highlight of the con for me was going by over at the 2000 AD booth. Dave Gibbons was there signing, and I hadn't even realized this year our prep was pretty light because it was so crazy coming into the con, but he was just sitting there signing. I wanted to get his autograph for quite some time and get him to sign something, and so there he was just signing away, and he was kind enough, and obviously purchased the print from him, but he was kind enough to sign in the Judge Dredd book right here, and then this, and it was like, you know, we didn't pay any VIP ticket, and we've thought about that before. So Dave Gibbons is a tough find. If you're not familiar with him, look him up. Watchmen, maybe his most famous work. So that's about the extent of kind of the things we bought on the floor. Now, in terms of going to the freebie side, the rest of all this is the swag and the goodies and the freebies. Some of it off-site, some of it inside the convention center. So we're going to come back and talk about Funko Fun Days because that's kind of an animal unto itself. But let's talk about things we found on the floor in terms of freebies. Well, first off, Gentle Giant, they always have cool, kind of oddball retro things. And this year they had these kind of mini card backs, which we really liked. And I may have missed, maybe they had more of these. These were the only 3 that we found, and so we'll have to check out on eBay if anybody's selling other ones, but really like that. They also had this deck of cards with various exclusives and Premier Guild gifts that they've had and things like that, and so kind of fun vintage card stuff there. Over at IDW, they were giving away the Star Trek hardback graphic novel collection Countdown. Really nice. I have not opened it yet to take a look at it, but I mean, pretty crazy to get that type of a thing as a freebie. One thing just we've talked about before is just there's things a lot of times like this is just a postcard, just a little advertisement for the pop-up shop for Belle and Snoopy. But this was at the booth inside Comic-Con. It's like, this is a cool little thing that can be framed there. We've done that with a number of things. And whether or not we'll do it, I'm not sure. We've done it with past things. I'm not sure that that's one that we'll do it with. Now, we did find, if you followed us for any time, you know that our number one prize when it comes to freebies is the Walking Dead in the last couple years, Ash versus the Evil Dead bag. And so we did find those stars in cooperation with Anchor Bay, giving those away. These fit comics perfectly. So this is why it's our like most important piece of swag because we take this. This is basically our bag for every convention we do most of the year. Everything outside of San Diego Comic Con, and even San Diego Comic Con, it's really become that way. Slide over here. Big year for posters, we found. Like a lot of posters and really easy to get posters. So first off, Marvel booth was the easiest we've ever seen them in terms of giving posters. And we have a bunch more, but just a couple quick. They have Thor Ragnarok. They have this multi-part one from Infinity War. They had a Defenders one. This was really cute off to the side. Just a kind of an oddball thing, but from Geico with Baby Groot there. It's a nice kind of parchment paper. Oh yeah, here's the Defenders one in here. Luke Cage, and yeah, a number of things there. Netflix booth. Oh, and this is also part of a multi-part one here. Powers Unite from the VR part of the booth. Over at Netflix, picked up the Defenders poster as well as Stranger Things 2, which it was nice having them on the floor. They were giving away some cool swag and definitely love picking up that poster there. We'll talk more about their offsite because that was a big hit from too. Fox had their Teen Wolf poster we picked up there. Like I said, we just kind of have a sampling out. This one was a highlight to me from the Lego booth. Again, a nicer canvas type paper. Justice League Lego, the Unikitty, DuckTales over at IDW, and Tangled were there. This and this, going back to that half off Planet of the Apes book. Again, the things you kind of find off the beaten track a little bit. I love vintage Planet of the Apes. So this little giveaway poster that probably 99% of the people at the con didn't care about, I really liked. And Abrams comic art, there was over there as part of all those books, and it was just freebies. And then they also were giving these away free. And unfortunately, I got there too late and missed out. They had the Flash one as well. But Amulet books, definitely someone to keep an eye on for swag. And a lot of times you do find some good swag off the beaten track. Obviously, at the center of the show, Fox, WB, all of that's what people think about, but we find a lot of good things in other spots. One of those kind of off the beaten track things, Hasbro, we talk about it every year. Usually Hasbro and Maddie have some signings. This year, Joe Quesada, never gotten his signature. We've had practically everyone living or anybody that's died in the last few years in terms of comic history that we really want. We've gotten, whether it's Perez and Steranko and Neil Adams and all these people, Stanley obviously, and on and on. Joe Quesada we haven't. And so seeing that we could get a free ticket pretty easily, relatively speaking, from the Hasbro booth and then come back for a Joe Quesada signing. This was the artwork for the Daredevil large-scale Marvel Legends figure that they sold this year at the Hasbro booth. So in connection with that then, got the free little print, got his autograph, and Hasbro and Mattel usually always do that. They have something that they tie in, Sergeant Slaughter, A-Team actors, Dave Filoni, Ashley Eckstein, whoever it is. They're not going to be, it's not going to be Johnny Depp, or it's not going to be the cast of Justice League or Avengers there, but there's some really good signings that take place there. Another thing, this was actually a gift from our friend Robert over at Legion of Sand, but there was a few shirts on the floor, and so it was neat. I'm super excited about this. This is for Pacific Rim Uprising, so I was really glad to get that. That was awesome. Another free shirt. This one came in a different way. This was over at the Loot Crate. This is a Loot Crate shirt from Labyrinth, obviously. If you used your MasterCard to buy, they gave you a free shirt, so it's kind of cool. Signing Comixology was doing a bunch of signings as well, and they have these little cards, and you could bring other things to get signed, but this is Jill Thompson of Sandman fame and Wonder Woman, all of that, but they had their little card series, kind of their all-stars, and they were just doing signings consistently at the back of the place there. Some masks and poster tubes and things like that. Okay, so let's move to the outside, and we'll come back over here to Funko Fun Days. And so with Fun Days, this is kind of an oddball one because it's an off-site. They're freebies, but not really because you pay for a ticket. So Fun Days was an event. The first time I went was last year. I've always liked pops, but have to collect them lightly. I mean, I have a Red Skull pop from, way back in the day, a Green Lantern from the Green Lantern movie, but never hardcore a Funko collector. But I'll say this, going to Fun Days last year, because you heard it was a really fun event, it really won me over in a lot of ways because they treat their fans so well. I mean, they really, really do a great job of putting this party together and getting people excited. So, went to Fun Days, tough ticket to get, battled away, refresh. I was $140 for the ticket, but then you get these 3 pops, or at least last year and this year, again, my only exposure. So we got, it's all Freddy Funko, their key character in different outfits. So as a white Power Ranger, Red Sun Superman, and then Scott Pilgrim. Then there's some games you could play. We won a couple little things here. There was another giveaway. They brought this guy in his Comic-Con shirt to the table. And then Kevin Smith showed up with Jason Mewes, and we got this exclusive Fat Man on Batman pop, which I was super excited about because I like the podcast. I like Kevin Smith since the Clark days and all that. And then they closed it out with this Freddy Flux. So fun collection. So even though we couldn't make it into the Funko booth, by being able to be better, I guess, refreshing our computer screen than maybe battling out at the Funko booth, we were able to get some cool pops to take home and have those as some souvenirs. So kind of freebies, kind of paid for, kind of a unique situation there, but I thought they were worth mentioning because definitely Fun Days is a real highlight to me of the con last year and this year. It's right at the top. So outside the convention now, talking about freebies, we did a lot of offsites this year relative to what we normally do, and so it's reflective in a little bit more swag from them. There's definitely was a lot of just street swag of bags. Nickelodeon was out in full force, but not as full force as Sci-Fi. I mean, Sci-Fi was weird not having the Sci-Fi Cafe this year, but they did put their resources into a lot of other things, from panels, their party, the Orlando Jones mirroring people, and a lot of swag. They have these street teams. They're giving out fanny packs and fans, sunglasses, bags. We've got a bunch of bags. It seemed like they kept, everywhere we went, it felt like outside, it felt like the Sci-Fi team was right there just like pushing things onto us, and that's cool. Over at FX, nothing great in terms of swag, really, but some fun experiences there. Definitely some things. The highlight to me was Ghosted. I mean, not much here. We got a little fidget spinner, but the Ghosted experience, they got a cool photo. Got to play some laser tag in air conditioning, which was really nice. We went to the Nat Geo Nerd Night party. Not much to show for that, but it was free food, open bar, so very nice way to cap off Saturday night. The Tick Off site got a shirt, little band, and a bag, and they had the very cool kind of immersive experience, a little bit like of an escape room, immersive theater, which we'll talk more about that because that seemed to be a theme with several things. Westworld for sure, which we did not get to do, but was a really cool thing. Over with Mr. Robot, we didn't go into the actual offsite, but we did go register to get our eCoin card, got a lanyard and a pen for the Bank of eCoin, a bottle opener there. Conan, we were able to get in on Conan for one night. It was the second Thursday night showing, so we got a free Flash Conan pop, which really like that. And then as we walked out, literally like a block away, the Inhumans, they're doing an IMAX promotion, a little clip. They had free food, free drinks, like water. But I'm a huge Inhumans fan. I don't know if the show will be any good, but I love Inhumans as a Marvel property. Kept the water. Asked them for no popcorn in this one, so it's a clean container. That's the collector in me. The bar, it was a Hershey bar just wrapped with this. Like literally it had the Hershey wrapper on it, so it's a clean wrapper. So just pulled that off and put that away as a little kind of collectible there. Okay, now back to the immersive idea. Over at Netflix, they really went all out. So we've got a Defenders shirt here. Got a shirt for Bright, the new movie with Will Smith. Have the Stranger Things hat. Have a flyer from the movie Bright, but the big thing about the Netflix offsite was just the experiences there. I mean, we went into the house of Stranger Things. I got on the bike that the kids ride in Stranger Things. There was an arcade in there. There was fake tattoos. There was orcs chanting. We've got videos of pretty much all of the Netflix offsites, so you can check that out if you want to check those out. But it was like you were in these storylines from Stranger Things. Defenders, not as much. That was the lightest in terms of theme. But Bright and Stranger Things, they really knocked it out of the park. And then going from Tick to Netflix, definitely. Oh, and I should say on Inhumans, we got a theatrical size poster for Inhumans. Definitely the home run in terms of offsites for us, and not swag, but the experience, was Blade Runner. So in terms of swag, we were there on Sunday. They had run out of t-shirts, so those were great. We got 3 vials of whiskey. And then we got some exclusive Comic-Con Blade Runner posters. But the experience was more than gift enough and better than getting a t-shirt. Because the experience was something else. I mean, it was full-on immersive theater. You had characters from this world of Blade Runner. They had free food in there and drinks, obviously. And you were able to just kind of hang out and see these characters interact and get some free posters. And it was a real blast. We've got a whole video of that on the YouTube channel as well. Last thing, going back to on the floor, kind of a separate category. But this year we started a Facebook group to promote the idea of basically helping each other out, because we answer as many questions as we can on Twitter all the time, and we get literally 20 notifications a minute during Comic-Con season, so there's just no way to keep up. And some of the questions are really good, and some of the questions are things like, what time does the floor open? Things that can easily be Googled. So the Facebook group helps to kind of, figure that out a little bit, help everybody else be able to chip in. The other thing about the Facebook group, though, is trading WB bags, because WB bags has been a thing that we've helped people trade for many years. The WB bag is one of those things that really, in the grand scheme of life, doesn't matter. You probably use it for dirty laundry or something like that the rest of the year, but during that weekend, fans of Supernatural really want the Supernatural bag, and fans of the Flash want the Flash, and so on and so forth. So we set that up this year. There was various trades going on there, as I'm going to do this, and here's this WB bag, and this and that. And then finally, there was a trade that came up that could help us out, and so it was really neat that we were able to participate in this. But basically, the proposal was that they had somebody that could not make the signing for Legends of Tomorrow, and if there's anything to trade. So we traded them a Funko Hikari figure for the ability to go to the Legends of Tomorrow signing, and that was really awesome because Carmel got to meet the entire cast here for season 3, really, and some of the behind the scenes there, and get it signed and everything. And it was just a really cool trade because literally that person was not going to go. It was the wife of the individual we traded with wasn't going to be able to go, and so now somebody's able to fill in. They got a cool Funko to take home, and so that works. So definitely check out our Facebook group as you're getting ready for open registration, return registration, hotel apocalypse, parking, all of those things. That group, I'm sure, will be more active when those different events come up throughout the year, but you can check that out over on our Facebook page there. So with that being said, I think our feeling right now is we had our best San Diego ever. We had a really, really good time. It was very different for us. We did less panels and less floor than we've ever done, and more offsites than we've ever done, but it was still a mix. We still hit, literally, we went by every booth, artist, vendor, whatever we want to call them, every single spot on the convention floor. So it's not like we didn't do the floor. We did all that. We went to Hall H. We saw the Netflix panel there. We saw Will Smith talking Bright. We saw Death Note, all of that. So we did some of those things as well, but we did get out and see some of these things outside, spend some time there. Things like whether it's Fun Days, Conan, all of those things take up a good chunk of time when you consider the walk and all of those things. So really good Comic-Con there. So again, hopefully these things help to give you a little bit of a look at kind of what our 2017 was. Going into 2018, our feeling definitely is that this focus on immersion is going to continue. Obviously, virtual reality has been a big thing on the convention floor for a while, but I think we're going to see more of these theater components, especially after Westworld and Blade Runner were like the talk of the weekend. It felt like everybody was talking about those two experiences, and so I think we're going to see more and more places try to do that. In terms of the floor, it was interesting. Posters having such a big surge this year, and also we've got like 2 or 3 other shirts that we picked up, so we probably ended up with like 5 free t-shirts. It's been many Comic-Con since that's happened, so I'm not sure if that was just an aberration or what it was. Most important thing to me for 2018 is that Anchor Bay returns and we get more Walking Dead bags, so we're always stocking for the future with those. So with that said, we had a great time at Comic-Con. Hopefully you had a great time if you were there. If you're planning for the future, maybe you're watching this in 2018 as the con is right around the corner. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea of what to expect. You could always go way back in our timeline. Maybe we'll put together a Storify to kind of see, because we did live tweet a lot of the little finds that we had throughout the con there, and you can kind of see where things fit in. But it was a great show. Comic-Con, again, we cover tons and tons of conventions. There's nothing like San Diego Comic-Con that we cover, and it is a real pleasure. It's an honor to be able to cover it every year. Always excited, always a great time. So with that being said, we're going to wrap up here for San Diego Comic-Con 2017 with our last in this video series, and we'll see you at San Diego Comic-Con 2018.